Werewolf syndrome, also known as lycanthropy, is a rare genetic condition that causes individuals to transform into wolves, or werewolves, during times of extreme stress or during the full moon. While it may sound like something out of a horror movie, for those living with werewolf syndrome, it is a real and often difficult reality. In this video, we will explore the lives of individuals with werewolf syndrome, the challenges they face, and the ways in which they cope and find support. Werewolf syndrome is a rare genetic condition that is passed down through families. It is caused by a mutation in a specific gene that is responsible for regulating the body's response to stress. This mutation causes the body to produce excess amounts of adrenaline, which can trigger the transformation into a werewolf. The transformation into a werewolf is accompanied by physical changes, such as increased muscle mass and the growth of fur. It also causes a loss of control and heightened aggression, similar to the way that people under extreme stress may behave. While the transformation can be triggered by extreme stress, it is most commonly triggered by the full moon. Those with werewolf syndrome typically transform into werewolves once a month during the full moon and remain in that form for the duration of the night. One morning, Jesus Chuy Aceves found another one of his family's cats had been slaughtered. Then, while he was making his way to a construction site in Mexico, he was heckled by onlookers who pulled out their cameras to take pictures of him while calling him derogatory things like "satanic beast." The Wolfman, a well-known circus performer whose entire face is covered in thick, black hair, is going about his typical day. His 30-member family is severely shunned in their native town of Loreto, Mexico, because they all have the same dark fur as him. However, Chuy, who has portrayed himself in a number of films, TV shows, and attractions about his genetic disease, has recently described how villagers encourage them to go live in the woods, kill their pets to force them to go, and cross themselves when they walk past, as if they were demons. The hairiest family in the world's children are unwilling to have additional children out of concern that they would experience the same mistreatment. Even Carla, Chuy's daughter, acknowledges that it would be tough to bring someone into the world like she is. Filmmaker Eva Origis, who spent months documenting them for a new, devastating documentary about their cursed life, has experienced their anguish. He decided then and there to give it all up after learning about issues at home. The Wolfman, however, has come to the realization that being a manual laborer makes it more difficult to make money. At age 12, Chuy was laboring at fairgrounds while traveling from city to city when a circus owner discovered the then known as Little Wolf. The circus owner made a generous offer to buy all three of his newly born cousins because he wanted them all. His two cousins had just been born. The Little Wolf concurred, and the group traveled throughout Mexico for several years before being locked up and displayed to paying tourists as an attraction. Chuy realized his wife was having an affair with a normal man after spending nearly 3 decades traveling the globe, and his daughter Araceli was desperately missing him. At that point, he made the decision to leave the circus and go back home to eke out a livelihood by working at a landfill. Chuy left home at the age of 13 to join the circus, and while he doesn't regret it, he lacks the qualifications to do anything other than fruit picking, laboring on construction sites, or disposing of rubbish. He currently works on a dump site where he spends his evenings burning the town's trash for a pittance, because of the severe discrimination he faces, according to Eva. Jesus Chuy Aceves is not the only person in his family who has werewolf syndrome. His entire family has hair on their bodies and faces owing to a genetic abnormality that has affected them for many generations. The neighborhood's residents treat the family horribly, crossing themselves and cursing at them when they pass by. Eva, who had been horrified by the brutality the family had endured, revealed that one of their neighbors, an elderly woman, had poisoned over 20 of their animals. The level of bullying and bigotry these folks experience is unlike anything I've ever witnessed. Over 20 of their pets have been poisoned by an elderly neighbor of theirs. Congenital hypertrichosis, sometimes known as werewolf syndrome, is a genetic abnormality that affects the entire family and results in excessive body hair development. The onset of the phenomena may be traced back to Chewy's great-grandmother, who was the first member of her immediate family to have hypertrichosis-related symptoms. The mutation is thought to be an atavism, a genetic reversion to genetic forebears whose traits are dormant in all people but emerge by chance in a new generation. 5 more generations of Chewy's great descendants' grandmothers have been born with a werewolf syndrome, which is now a dominant gene in the family. The faces of newborns in the family already have hair on them. In fact, the werewolf family from Mexico's Zacatecas state accounts for 30 of the 50 recorded examples of the illness throughout human history. The family currently resides in 2 adjacent homes that were given as gifts 40 years ago by the town mayor, who was sympathetic to the situation of a group of social outcasts. No one will rent or sell the family a home in the area because the discrimination against them is so severe. I've never witnessed bullying or discrimination on the degree that these folks experience, said Eva. Even if they put up a strong face, when they are interviewed by themselves, their resolve begins to fray. At one point, Chewy states, "I'm the opposite of invisible, but I just want to be left in peace." Victoria, a local woman who currently resides with the family, is Chewy's wife. She explained to Eva that she is accustomed to her husband's peculiar characteristics, and that being with a bald-faced man now would be weird. 2 of Chewy's daughters, Araceli and Carla, who inherited their father's hairy traits and now routinely shave their faces to prevent the bullying at school, were born. They were instructed to do this by their aunts, who also have the same desire for normalcy to fit in. Given the persecution they have faced at school, the family's youngest members claim they do not want to have children. Carla says to Eva in the documentary, "It's hard to introduce a new person like me into the world. Being rejected by society, the family has a hard time getting or keeping a job. Living with werewolf syndrome can be challenging, but with education, support, and treatment options, those with the condition can lead fulfilling and successful lives." It is important to remember that those with werewolf syndrome are just like anyone else, and deserve understanding and acceptance. Thank you for joining us in learning about people living with werewolf syndrome. If you like to hear about more of these stories and support the awareness to these people, make sure to subscribe on our channel to support us.